What's going on, everyone? Hope you guys are having a great week. We are going to be having another conversation here with this time Michael Monroe from Canyon Hills Worship to talk about some new music that they've come out with recently and just hear about Canyon Hills just as a worship ministry in general. So it's going to be really great to hear from him. So let's get Michael in here and we'll kick this thing off. Hey, Michael, how you
What's
doing,
up,
brother?
man? I'm doing
Not
well. How
much.
are you?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks so much for jumping on here. This is
Yeah,
this
thanks
is
for having me.
really, really great. Of course. Where are you calling from today? Where is Canyon Hills located out of? Where are you guys operating from?
Yeah, we're in a town called Bothell, Washington. We're about like 20, 30 minutes out from Seattle, and it's just kind of
Okay.
like one of the suburbs on the east side. Yeah,
Awesome. That's great. That's the one part of the country I feel like I just haven't yet made it out that direction, but have always wanted to.
yeah, come stop by.
Yeah,
Where are
I
you
sure
located?
will. Yeah, I'm in Nashville, Tennessee. Yeah, me and some of the
Cool.
Luke guys are here in Nashville, and yeah, are loving it. It's a great town with a lot going on. But yeah,
Yeah,
man, thanks
I
again
love
for
Nashville.
jumping on. Yeah, let's hear maybe just a bit about kind of your history with Canyon Hills and kind of how I don't know, just give us the story there. How long you guys have been around, your journey into songwriting. I know you guys just released a project, which I'm happy to let you talk about. But let's hear the kind of everything leading up to that point, what you guys have been on.
For sure, for sure. I've been at Canyon Hills for a good amount of time. My parents were actually like the first missionaries from Canyon Hills, like 27 years ago. And so I was born in Chile, in South America, and on the mission field. And then when we came back here, Canyon Hills was supporting us, and so we've kind of been here ever since. I mean, I would visit youth groups here and there, but then always kind of came back to home, which was Canyon Hills. And
Yeah,
yeah, I've been here for a long time. Canyon Hills Worship, like as a ministry, started doing like recording. Obviously, we've had a worship ministry for the entire life of the church, but um, as far as recording goes, I think about 10 or so years ago, Kobe, the worship pastor here, he started kind of diving into recording, and so
yeah,
just like with the heart to like write songs for our church.
yeah.
I think he just felt like a need to write songs specifically for our church and for our people, and so that's kind of where it started. And then I joined on about 7 years ago, and I've been here ever since.
Okay, that's awesome. So, what's your
Yeah.
actual role within the band? What do you do primarily?
Yeah, I'm one of the worship leaders, but I my role here at the church is kind of like in charge of Cannon Hills worship, like as a recording artist, and so I do all the conversations with management and label, and do a majority of the writing, and so that's kind of
Yeah,
it's kind of what I get to do, and it's a pretty cool thing because there's really nothing else I'd want to be doing, so it's pretty
yeah,
awesome that I get to do it
yeah,
here.
man.
Yeah,
That's cool. It's like as a
yeah,
worship as a worship ministry. And then if you're like releasing music as like a quote unquote artist, there's a lot of hats, a lot of things to be done, to keep
totally,
ducks in a row. So it's a fun place to be, man.
totally.
That's awesome. Maybe what can you tell us about this new album you guys have come out with, All to Jesus? Kind of give us the story there of how that project kind of came to be and what journey you guys went on together.
Totally. Yeah, these songs on All to Jesus, this latest record that we put out, it it's my favorite so far, and it's really special because like these songs were written over this 3.5 year period of like COVID and all of this world being like freaking crazy right now. It's just like it's insane, and so these songs kind of came out of like a desperation to trust and abide in Jesus. And that's kind of the through line and theme of all these songs. They're written over like a long period of time, and we can get into like the writing a little later on.
Yeah.
But yeah, this album, it's been a real blessing for our church. And these songs, like a few of them specifically, have been like kind of like the heart cry, at least of our worship ministry. And
Yeah.
it's been cool to see how that's impacted our church and the worship of our church in this like kind of weird and trying time. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I feel like we're even still, and it probably will continue for a while, but I feel like we're still in the season of like seeing the fruit of a lot of like ministries, what they've written over the course of that time period, starting with COVID and like the years that
Yeah.
follow. Like we're now still seeing like all this all these songs, all these insane and awesome songs come out of these ministries that were born
Yeah.
out of time. So it's been cool to see, how their stories are different and the way they've been impacted by what God's done in that time. So I'm
Absolutely.
always just thrilled to see and to hear, of the songs and the projects that are born out of that. Is there one like
Yeah.
specific maybe track in mind or something that has been like in particular, maybe a lifeline for your church, like throughout that whole process?
Our song "On and On" was definitely one that has been I think a lifeline for our church in that way. It's interesting, like going back to this idea of COVID and like the world getting shut down. Like we were forced to sit back a little bit and to slow down a little bit and to adapt. And I think to look forward, like our mission statement as a worship ministry is to create environments of worship that are Jesus focused and eternity minded. And
Mm,
so I think
love it.
we really were forced to look to eternity and look to that throne room that we're going to be in and like worshiping forever. And it kind of makes the problems of today, while they still are real and while they still are difficult, and while like people are really going through hard times, we have a hope to look forward to,
Yeah.
and that's been so special for us to be able to look forward to. Yeah.
Yeah. That's incredible. Wow. Well, it's great for anyone, yeah, listening to this. I mean, I'd hope they know all the tracks are available at Loop if you want to, start leading these in your church. But like I said, it's always cool
Do it.
because although you've like written them for your home church, it's like we see so often that those are the ones that end up just
Hmm.
permeating like beyond every wall imaginable and are the most relatable. So it's awesome,
Totally.
man. Um, Sick. Well, in terms of like songwriting, do you guys have like a specific process? I mean, there's 10 tracks on the record. Were those all written in a similar style, similar fashion? How did all of those kind of come to be, and what does that look like for Canyon Hills?
Yeah, so we co-write with two specific people a lot. So, well, Kobe and I do like the primary writing here at the
Yeah.
church, and I do a lot of writing all over the place. And the we write with these two guys, Brandon Coker and Clay Finnisend. They're
Mhm.
from a church, North Point in Atlanta,
Yeah.
and we've just become really close friends with them. And like almost all these songs except for one were written with those guys, and we do this like every 8 or so months. We do this little retreat here in the Seattle area and just get an Airbnb and write songs for 5 days.
Wow.
And it's been really cool, and we're just writing for our churches, and whatever we feel like the Lord is telling us to write. And so we'll just get up in the morning, talk about what we've been reading, what God's been telling us, and then kind of write songs out of that. And I think just going into it open handed has been really cool, and
Yeah.
just being able to just write what we feel God is trying to write through us. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Over the course of years you've been songwriting, is there any tips, like anything that you've kind of gleaned just over the course of all your experiences? Like what would you tell someone who's maybe newer into songwriting? I ask pretty much everyone that jumps on one of these, kind of what they would say to someone who's maybe newer. Like what
Totally.
encouragement would you give to them as a songwriter in this worship thing?
Yeah.
What would you lay out?
I'm by no means an expert.
Yeah.
I would never say that I have all the answers, but what I have learned would be to just be humble. Um, don't ever think that like your idea is always the best idea. because especially if you're writing in like a group of three or four, like there are three or four other viewpoints right there, and like that is something to like really take advantage of, like
Yeah.
really really lean into other people's ideas as well. And I think the thing like early on in songwriting, especially in co-writing, because originally I was really scared to like show people my ideas because
Yeah.
I was like, I think these are good, but I don't know. Don't get hurt when your ideas aren't good.
Yeah.
Like, don't take it personally, because sometimes your ideas aren't good, and that's fine. And then once you have that and you have like an answer, this idea is bad. Great,
Yeah.
we'll move
Right.
on and we'll find something good. You know,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that was like the hardest thing to learn. But honestly, I think the most beneficial thing, because I remember like being in the songwrite, and I won't say his name by name, but he just said, no, that sucks. And I was like, oh man, that really hurt. But then I was like,
Yeah.
all right, how about this? And then try something. He's like,
Yeah.
that's better. Try again. And I'm like, okay. And so then try again, and we finally got a song. And so yeah, it's
Yeah.
like you
Yeah.
just have to be humble. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so interesting. Well, it's cool that you kind of at least have like I think it's important to have community and relationship with the people that you're writing with, and the more you get used to like sharing those ideas, like the idea of getting like shot down or whatever just is fine, and
Yeah,
it's something that happens. And I mean, I think if you're in the room with the right people, they'll see the idea there and be like, okay, but like let's maybe take that this direction, and you can always take something
totally.
and make it better. So, um,
Yeah, I'd say
yeah.
also, sorry to cut you off.
Oh, go ahead.
Also, like, write, like, in co-writes, like, obviously be willing to ask whoever, like, hey, would you
Mm,
be willing to write a song with me? Because, like, the worst they can say is no. But the best people to write with, I think, are people that you already have a relationship with. Because,
yeah,
like, it's such a vulnerable thing to do.
yeah,
Like, you're literally just like, here's my heart, take it or leave it. Like, it's a weird thing. So doing it with people that you trust and that you know already, is definitely, I think, the best way to go.
yeah. That's very interesting that you'd say that. I feel like, I mean, I've been involved in scenarios. I don't know if you can relate, but it's like a lot of times the people that come up with the most, at least with regards to worship music, because it's not so much about like coming up with like a catchy lyric as much as it is just like
Yeah,
staying true to what the word says. It's like a lot of times in the projects I've been involved with, we've had people in the room that don't even consider themselves songwriters or even like musical, but they're just like so in tune with
right.
like what God's doing within the walls of the church that everything that
Yeah,
they contribute is awesome. So I would say
right.
that's a good tip for anyone that doesn't think they're a songwriter. Like it doesn't necessarily matter. Like God will use anyone. Um, so yeah, don't be
Yeah,
bashful. Invite anyone into the room that you think would be a benefit to have. That's sweet.
absolutely.
Cool. So, album came out earlier this month. What does the road ahead look like for you guys? Are you just going to be kind of sitting in that, kind of resting in these songs, focusing on these? What do you guys got coming down the road in the next year? Anything exciting that you've got to share on that front?
Yeah, I mean the album's come. It's already out,
Yeah.
available everywhere. And we're releasing like the live videos of it.
Cool.
So on
Cool.
YouTube, like those will be coming out over the next couple months. A couple of
Cool.
them are already out, but it's pretty cool to be able to like relive the night that we recorded them, with
Yeah.
the church, especially. It's been cool to be able to look back on that. But yeah, we're in a season right now of just writing towards the next thing. I think
Yeah.
this is like the bookmark on this season, this last couple years of our church's life, and especially
Yeah.
like our worship ministry's life. And we're just kind of looking forward, praying on what is next. And God, if you want us to make another one, like, what does it need to say? And so I'm I'm starting. I'll actually be in your neck of the woods
Okay.
in a few weeks, just starting to write for the next thing.
Awesome.
And so yeah, we're just preparing for whatever's next right now. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome, and it's so cool. I mean, it sounds like that. Yeah, for these albums that have just honestly been like years in the making. It's really cool just to like let that go and then watch what the Lord's gonna do with these songs. So I haven't
It's
yet
kind of
listened to it.
scary. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. You know, it's always scary. But like you said, it's like all you
Yeah,
can do is be sure that you're doing the right thing for your community, the community around you. You know, your church family,
right.
and then just pray that um, whatever needs to happen will happen with the songs beyond that. So it's really cool. You guys have
Absolutely.
done On and On is a great song. I've listened to that many times when you go back through the rest of the album, but I'm super, super excited to dive in. Again, all the tracks are available at loopcommunity.com for anyone wanting to get their hands on them. So I would highly, highly recommend that you do that. Otherwise, do you have one little nugget of encouragement for worship leaders as we close this thing out? One note of encouragement across the board. Anything to
Across
share?
the board, yeah. I would say like specifically to like I feel like a lot of churches are making music for their churches right now, and I would say like if you're making original music for your church, and if you're not making original music for your church, like whatever you do it for the people that God has entrusted you with.
Yeah.
I think the second that, and I felt it like start to creep into my heart, like the second that you like start focusing on what's past the church, on the outside your four walls,
Yeah.
the second you start to focus on fame or on recognition, like those things are so dangerous, not just for you, but for the people that God has entrusted you with. Like focus in on your church, focus in on your people, learn their names, learn their story, and pastor them, shepherd them. That's like what we're called to do, and it's a really heavy burden to hold,
Yeah.
and it's a really important thing to hold. And so, yeah, I mean, I don't have this perfected, and honestly, there's a lot of people that are probably listening that have been leading worship in church for a lot longer than I have. But whether you've been leading there for 20 years or 2 months, like
Yeah.
do it for the people that God has entrusted you with, and and trust Him in that.
I love that. I love that. With like, I feel like in that time, probably that album was written, it's like social media has just, it's just crazy just what happens,
It is.
more so than ever before. It's like overnight you could have a song just blow up, which is awesome, but also
Mm-hmm.
not why you do the thing as a worship leader, so it's
Yeah.
super, super hard to walk that line, when you
Yeah.
obviously want the songs to do well and you want them to reach people. But I think what you said is right on. You're there to serve the people that God's put you in community with and in contact with. So let God carry the rest of that. It's not on you. So that's
Absolutely.
super, super encouraging. Well, thank you so much, man, for jumping on. I don't really have anything else for you other than just to say to everyone seeing this video to go on and check out Canyon Hills and their music. There's a lot of good stuff going on there, and I hope these songs bless everyone watching. So Michael, thanks again, man, and we'll talk to you soon. Looking forward to see what comes next from you guys.
Thanks so much for having me, for real.
Yeah, not a problem. We'll talk to you soon. Okay.
All right. Bye.
Bye. All right, everyone, you heard it. Go get the tracks for Canyon Hills Worship and their new album, All to Jesus, at loopcommunity.com. They're all available there as we speak. So hope hope those songs bless you. And if you ever need anything from us here at Loop Community, just reach out. We're happy to help out. So thanks so much for tuning in. We'll catch you all next time.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt McCoy. Thanks for listening to today's podcast. Hey, it means so much to us when you let us know what you thought. Write down in the comments what you learned from this episode, anything else that you found encouraging from this episode. Glad you guys are listening to the podcast. Hope to provide to you a lot of helpful content as you lead worship. See you soon.